Good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday night. Almost a Tuesday. Happy Thursday night. It is August 7th, 2025. This is the Confident Autistic live stream. And let me make sure I did this right. Yeah, I did. Okay, I think so. Yes, I did. Okay. All right, there we go. We're here. We're live, and it's the first August of 2025. But what I meant to say is the first Thursday of August. That's what tonight is. We got a great topic tonight. Is autism versus the medical community. I'm going to share with you in a moment how this topic came up for tonight's live stream. In the meantime, yeah, shout out in the chat where you're from, and I'll give you a shout out here on camera. And so, but that is tonight's live stream. It's been a busy week for me around here. It's been a very stressful week too. So let's get into why this topic tonight. And I'll tell you, last Friday, we did this last Thursday night, last week Thursday night, and I told you I'll be back live Friday, this coming Thursday tonight. And I don't know what the idea was. And Friday it kind of came to be. See, for a while I knew I was going to have a procedure this week. I had to have a CT. I was born with a constricted aorta, and I've had several heart operations. The last one was an ascending to descending aortic bypass, which had a little hiccup in it, which was an incomplete spinal cord injury. So, and when they put the stuff in there, it's called a gusset to help bypass that constricted aorta. They made an man-made aneurysm, and it has to be checked once in a while. So I have to have CT. And to have the CT, I got to get an IV, and I'm not good with needles. Okay, and it was a something I'm very stressed about. I don't know about you. How, if you're on the spectrum, how do you feel about medical procedures that involve needles? Now, I've done videos on this topic about why we have the fear of needles, and I believe I did one on strategies on how you can overcome the fear of needles. But the problem has been in the past when I go to get this test done that, that it was hard to get the accommodations that I needed because I need to have a PIC line nurse. And if you're not sure what a PIC line nurse is, I can't tell you what PIC stands for at the top of my head. But they're really talented people, and they are great at inserting IVs and doing other things with needles. The PIC line nurses here. They have great ways of doing it where the pain is minimal compared to others who have to do an IV. Now I'm able to finally give blood with a phlebotomist with very little issues, but a IV going into my arm, uh, a shot bad, an IV is worse going into my arm. I don't know. Maybe it's just the idea of losing control over my body, having a foreign object in it, the pain. I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of all those things, but it's hard for me. Okay, and it's always been a battle to get that accommodation at the hospital when I get my CT done. So I thought that'd be a pretty interesting topic. We can talk about autism versus the medical community. Then last Friday, on my way home from running some errands, we stopped by the mailbox. And that sounds like a big thing. It is. I only go to the mailbox about once every I would go once a month, but I have somebody here at the house who I pick up mail for that actually likes to go there every single day. What's up with that? How often do you check your mail? I really could go months without checking my mail because everything I get is electronic. It's all electronic. I don't worry about it. But that day I went by the mailbox and I got a letter. I got two letters from my doctor's office, one for me, one for my wife. First, I saw my wife. I saw, well, it's probably some results from the lab work that the doctor had ordered, blah, blah, blah. It's nothing. Then I saw one for me. I went, okay. And they looked the same. So I opened up the letter, and this was like August 1st. Okay. I opened up that envelope and I started reading it. And I'm going to paraphrase it and I'm going to retract a few things because I don't want to mention the medical center's name or my doctor's name. But basically, I was told that as of July 24th, my doctor no longer works at this medical facility. And I was in the car and I started going, no, 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 pounding on the dashboard, remembering my wife told me not to do that because that could, trigger the airbag. So I stopped doing that and started pounding on my legs. No, 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 no. I did not want that because this doctor is really special to me. This doctor, I share this in other videos. When I went and saw my doctor and was going through the part of my life where I was suspecting I was on the spectrum, and I told my doctor some of the symptoms I was having, my doctor looked at me and said, "Oh, that's not uncommon for someone on the spectrum." As if the doctor was saying to me, "Don't you know that you're on the autism spectrum?" That doctor encouraged me to find to find out how my mind works and to get screened for autism. And I know many of us in our community, when we have to have that conversation with a primary care physician, are not as blessed as I am to have a supportive doctor. So it meant a lot to me that she was very supportive of this and encouraging. So it meant a lot to me, and she got me. When I had to give blood at the office, it was for lab work. It was a traumatic experience, and normally the doctor that says to the nurse, "Go get his blood," and she leaves, or he leaves. The doctor leaves, and this doctor stayed in there to want to see how I reacted to it. And the doctor was there and watched it. And the doctor comforted me through that. The doctor also comforted me when I had to have some wax and gunk cleared out of my ears and I was screaming loud enough that the doctor could hear me down the hall. Okay. And, and, it, so this doctor got me. And never had a doctor get me. I've had doctors kick me off of their service because of my behavior, because of my autism. But this doctor understood it and did not judge me for it. So I was heartbroken. So I had to face the reality of having to let go of a doctor I really liked and finding a new one. So the combination of that and what's come, the procedure I had coming up, I thought this would be a perfect topic this week because I could talk about my autism versus the medical community. Now, I'm going to do something here for one moment that's going to be a little bit annoying, but just bear with me a moment and I'll explain what I'm doing. Okay, I'm back. What happened here is we have a AI device in the house, and we have multiple of these. And apparently, the AI device where my wife is was doing something and she wanted it to stop. And she kept yelling, her name and stop. Well, not only did she stop hers in her room, she stopped the 80s music I have playing in my ears while I do these live. And I had to get that started again. I did not want to use a trigger word if you had same AI in your house and trigger yours to do the same. Anyway, that's really not all that important. But what is important is tonight's topic. Autism versus the medical community. So, what challenges have you faced as an autistic adult, late diagnosed, with the medical community? Have you had doctors that are supportive or doctors who are dismissive of your autism or your self identifying or even your diagnosis or whatever? Um, Share those in the chat. We'll talk about those tonight. Like I mentioned, I've been very blessed. I had a doctor who embraced it and recognized it in me. So we're going to talk more about that experience in a moment, but let's talk about the first thing that I mentioned inspired me for this topic tonight. And that is a medical procedure that I had to have, the CT that I mentioned earlier. And you're just tuning in, we're talking about autism versus the medical community tonight, in my experience with autism and having to battle and advocate for myself in the medical community for reasonable accommodations. And I encourage you to share your stories as well. So each year or so, I need to get a CT done to check on this man-made aneurysm to make sure it's not getting any bigger, that we don't have to have surgery. So, and it's always a ordeal for me because It involves an IV, and I mentioned this earlier, which involves a blood draw at first to make sure my kidneys are functioning well enough for the contrast dye or whatever they're going to inject into me, so it does not cause any kidney damage. So the IV. Now, I don't like needles. I've gotten to the point I can give blood in most cases of a phlebotomist as long as there's a few things met. They need to be my right hand side. I ask for a butterfly needle. I don't look, and I warn them that I may make a dirty face. It's nothing personal against them. It just I don't like needles, so I could do that. A shot, a little bit more traumatic for me, but I can often handle a shot. But higher anxiety for me. But an IV, something that can be stuck into my body and stay there for a while, I am not good at all. In fact, most people cannot get an IV in me. The people who can are the PICC line nurses, and these are special people who can do wonderful things getting IVs in people, particularly those who have hard to find veins or curved veins or blown veins or whatever. They are great, okay? They're as good as med-flight people who can do an IV in a flying helicopter on a patient. They're really talented people. Now, the PICC line nurses, not only are they talented at that, at the place that I get my medical treatment at, I used to volunteer at. Okay. So I know a few of the PICC line nurses because they're friends of mine from when I volunteered there. So if I get one of those PICC line nurses, and we just talk and visit like, we used to when I worked there, it distracts me enough that we can get the IV in with minimal embarrassment. Minimal means not that loud of screaming, okay? I'm almost 60 and I act like I'm 5 and there's an IV involved, maybe even younger. I'll admit it, I'll own that. So we go in every year, we go in and we tell the people at the radiation department, I'm definitely afraid of needles. I need a PICC line nurse so we can get the IV started. And they never listen to me because they want to do it themselves. Because calling a PICC line nurse, they're doing someone else, it's going to take a little while. We can wait 20, 30 minutes. And I guess they don't want me to wait. And I know they don't want to wait because that holds up everything for them and other patients. So I tell them this when I come in and I'm sitting in the waiting room for 20 minutes. They could call the PICC line nurse. They don't. Okay. And there's been a battle for years. And the last time I went, not this year, but the previous time, we told them they didn't listen. Okay. They didn't. So this year was the first time I went there after I got screened for and received a diagnosis of my autism. And I did some research on the internet. The internet's a cool place to find research. And I came up with, I saw someone who wrote a note because, you're really stressed out and anxious, right? And that they can give to a medical professional that explains their autism and what accommodations they need and why and what helps them. So I wrote a note. It took me a while. I spent about a day crafting it, fine tuning it. First, it was 2 pages long. I mean, that's too long. And because I know medical professionals, they skim read. So I got it down to 1 page and I made and bold the keywords they needed to see. So I'm proud of this note. I went in there and we were handing them the papers for me to get my procedure, the orders. And I was handing them this other paper I wrote. And somebody with me said, "Oh, they don't need that." And I said, "Yes, they do." So I handed it to the lady that was checking me in. She kind of glanced at it and all. And then I went and had my seat and we filled out some more paperwork, whatever. And then they called me back. And before they took me back, I was in a wheelchair. I didn't feel like walking that day. So they pushed me back. And my wife told them, I really need to be back there with him. Because she's kind of like my support person. She is. She's an advocate for me. She's a support person. And they said, "There's not enough room back there. There's not a chair for you." And she said, basically, "Look, if you want to get an IV in him, I got to be back there. Otherwise, you're gonna have a really hard time getting it in there if you can get it in there at all." So they took me back. And then when back there, they got things set up and they walked up to me and they asked, "Who's with you in the waiting room?" And I mentioned my wife's name. They said, "Okay." They went and got her. So I was very happy about that. My wife advocated for that. Because even though I had that in the note, which nobody really read, I was so anxious and all the sensory stuff. That there's a lot of noises back there, MRI machines going on, people talking, moving around. I was not able to be too verbal at that moment because more so the anxiety than anything else. So my wife came back there and she kept telling me, you need to get PICC line nurse. He'll do better with PICC line nurse. But no, and this happens every time in radiology, they insist they can start an IV. And they can on most people. Not on me. So if you just tuned in, we're talking about autism versus the medical community. Let me try something here. This would be kind of fun. Let's do this. So this will work. And do that. And do this. There we go. Okay. Anyway, so we're back there. And finally they tried. They couldn't get it in me, and they finally resigned themselves. Well, we can call PICC line nurse, but it could take 30 to 40 minutes for them to get here. And I'm like, I'm fine with that. I really am, because I'd rather not act out so badly. I am embarrassed to come back to the hospital where I used to work. Okay. So I went, fine. My wife was like, that's great. She kept telling them he's on the spectrum. He's definitely afraid of needles. He needs a PICC line nurse. So they finally called the PICC line nurse. The PICC line nurse came, and it turned out to be a PICC line nurse who I knew from when I volunteered at the hospital. So we had a nice little conversation. And it turned out wonderful. It did. It was a wonderful experience. And it was just beautiful. It truly was a great experience. It's not doing what I wanted to do. Okay, so we'll go back to this. And we got it done finally. I did whimper and scream a little bit because there was pain involved. I don't like pain, but I did get the procedure done. Even though, and that's the part that so frustrates me. Tell me if you've had the similar experience. Even though I made a note outlining that I am autistic, I have a fear of needles. This is how I may react during the needles. I may shut down. I may become verbally aggressive. I'm not physically aggressive. I may become verbally aggressive. What helps is letting me play my fidget toys, letting me listen to my music, having my support person, my wife there, having a PICC line nurse there. And, even though I did all that, I still got ignored. My request got ignored. My wife had to advocate for me, and I so much appreciate her doing that. She did a great job of that because I was not able to do that because I was kind of in nonverbal shutdown for a little bit because it was so overwhelming of what was going on. I thought that I've always had that trouble. I thought the note could speak for me, and it didn't. So I'm not trying to badmouth the hospital, the radiology particularly, but this is something that's important to me, and it should be important to all of us. And that is, we all need to advocate for our needs. And when we advocate, even if it falls on deaf ears, we need to keep doing that, because the more we advocate for ourselves, eventually the message can get through. And the more we advocate for ourselves, and more that our listics hear and start to listen, we're not only advocating for ourselves, we're advocating for others in our community, which will help make this world more inclusive for those of us on the spectrum. So if you have to go through a medical procedure and it's traumatic for you, don't try to mask it. Reach out, tell them you need help, tell them what you need, tell them why, until they listen. Don't take no for an answer. You have a right, we have a right to reasonable accommodations. And that's all we're asking for, not special treatment or anything, but reasonable accommodations. And it was really interesting. I know this is going to sound a little sexist, and my apologies. The women there were once they knew I was on the spectrum, were very nice to me and talked calmly and respectfully to me, did not talk down to me like I'm a child, but I could tell they were very sensitive and they wanted to help and do what they could. The men there, not that much. But yeah, when you are going through a medical procedure, I cannot emphasize enough, medical procedure, a doctor, whatever, advocate for yourself, because not just for you. You advocate for yourself, maybe next time be easier for you. Maybe take 4 or 5 times before it gets easier. Don't give up. But you're not just advocating for yourself, you're advocating for everyone who's on the spectrum, especially those of us on the spectrum who cannot advocate for ourselves for whatever reason. So please advocate for yourself. Now, the other thing that went through this week is my doctor. My doctor unexpectedly parted ways with the medical facility my doctor was employed at. And I got that letter. I mentioned that earlier in this stream. And have yet that ever happened to you? You had a doctor you really liked, and suddenly you could not see them anymore. And that happened to me. They parted ways July 24th. I got the letter August 1st. And for the last 7 days, I don't like change. I know many of us on the spectrum do not like change. Do you like change or don't? And if not, go ahead and share that in the chat. Love to hear it. Hear how you deal with change. I had a little meltdown when I got the letter, and I was very depressed. My doctor had done so much for me. My doctor had only been my doctor for 4 years, but my doctor got me. My doctor spotted that I was on the spectrum. My doctor never judged me for some of my behaviors when I get anxious during procedures and all. She gets it. I've had doctors, because of the way I react to needles and all, who have told me I need to find a new doctor, who have kicked me. I've been kicked off of 2 doctor services in my life because of my behavior that probably is triggered by my autism, because of the way I handle things. I'm not proud of that, but it needs to be said. I'm sure I'm not the only one on the spectrum who've been invited to find health care somewhere else. So that's happened to me. And when I received this news that my doctor was no longer able to be my doctor because my doctor and the facility parted ways, I was devastated. I don't know if anything ever like that happened to you. If it did, and you feel comfortable, share it in the chat, or you can send it to me in email, chris@defineyourself.us. I'd love to hear your stories. But I went into depression mode. I got kind of more withdrawn and quiet. I stayed up nights because I had trouble sleeping. I didn't get closure. I didn't get to hear from my doctor to tell me that the doctor and the medical facility are parted ways and all. I got a form letter saying my doctor and the medical facility parted ways. We thank you, doctor, for the years of service the doctor had provided to that medical facility, blah, 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 blah. A person for the office will be calling you to reschedule your appointment with a new provider. And I thought, what happened? And all. What happened? Why did this suddenly happen? Why did this doctor leave without telling me? Okay, I know they don't really owe me an explanation if they're going to make a career change, but it would have been nice. I really connected with this doctor. And it bothered me. And what bothered me the most was it was a form letter from an office staff. It's not a form letter from the doctor saying, I regret to inform you that I no longer work at this facility. I parted ways. I want to thank you for letting me have the privilege of taking care of your health. Maybe how you contact them at the new job, whatever. Nothing. And it really hurt. And what really hurt me, I felt like I hadn't had a chance to tell my doctor, thank you. Thank you. We go to the doctor and we think, well, I'll see my doctor again in a few months. I will keep seeing my doctor for years and years. One thing I learned from all of this is, most of the time when I'm done seeing my doctor, I will say, thank you, doctor. Call call my doctor doctor because the doctor has earned that respect. They're smart people. We should listen to them more. We don't. I know I don't. I don't know about you, but I know I don't. And I really realized I need to occasionally tell the doctor who's making a difference in my life how they're making a difference. They need to hear that feedback. They need to know they're making differences. And I had that taken away from me. I felt it was taken away from me. And it hurt. And I started going through my mind, what could have happened to my doctor? Why did my doctor suddenly bail? Why did they suddenly part ways? And it really got to me, and I needed closure. So to keep a long story from getting any longer, I was able to find my physician on social media, and I sent my physician a note, letting my physician know how I felt, how to upset me. And it wasn't all about me, because I know that my physician had posted on there on social media. This was something the physician did not see coming either. Okay. I don't know what happened. It's none of my business. Okay. I'm not even going to speculate. Please don't. And all. So I knew knew I needed to write was not all about me. So I made sure my doctor knew. I really thanked my doctor, and I let them know whatever they do next in their career, please share it on social media, because if my insurance will cover them, let's say they go into a new practice or whatever, and it's a reasonable distance where I can travel to, I would be honored to have this physician back as my primary care physician. The other problem this caused was I got to find a new doctor. Now, as an autistic adult, I don't know about you. And if you're like this, share it in the chat. I do not like change. And this is something that people have known about me all my life. I believe I shared this in other videos. When I was younger, I went to, well, we all go to grade school, and had a nurse there named Nurse Towley. And then, I went my way. I went to middle school and all. And then when I was in high school, we got reunited because she started working as a nurse at my high school. And she told me, ever since I first met you in grade school when you were in third grade, I know you do not like change. And that's true. I don't do well with change. The last time I saw my doctor, she's in this office, the doctor's in the office building. And my doctor's offices were on the east side and had windows looking out. Last time I saw my doctor, the offices were on the west side of the facility with no windows, and that was a change. I didn't like that. That was weird. But now I had to find a new doctor. I had to change doctors, and I resisted that because I was not ready to let go. But once I reached out to my previous doctor and let my previous doctor know how much I appreciated the care that they provided to me, the difference they made in my life and in my wife's, and that I was shocked by it, and all. And obviously, my doctor knows about my autism and all. I did share that this transition is very hard for me, and I need some closure. My doctor is very understanding about that. Now that I got that through a chat with my doctor, by finding them on social media, I reached out to them. The doctor did not reach out to me. I have closure, and now I'm ready to move on. I've done some research. I found a new doctor that I think I'm going to bond with. I did some research. I looked into finding a doctor who was neurodiverse affirming. I found one. I found a doctor who, in the bios that are out there about this new physician, states that this physician is patient-centered care, patient care focused, or words to that effect, where they put the patients first. And that's something I want. I don't want a doctor that just says, well, take these pills and blah, blah, blah. Come in, how are you doing? You're doing fine. Okay. I see this on your chart. You should be taking these pills. See you in 6 months and leave. I want a doctor, and maybe it's my age, maybe it's my generation, that will sit and talk. I mean, not for an hour or so, because I don't do small talk, but will listen to the complaints, ask questions, and makes you feel that you are important and you're not a bother of the day. Makes you feel like, and I know I'm not, but makes you feel like you're their only patient and you're the most important person. So I found a new doctor. I'm going to call. I'm going to try to set up an initial meeting with that doctor, check them out, talk to them, ask them some questions, yada, 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 and go from there. And I will be doing videos on this on when I get back to my Friday activity of my autistic journey. I'm going to be sharing this in a video and the progress I go through with getting connected and set up with a new doctor. So I shared my experiences, 2 of them this week. If you have, I should turn on the fan in here. It's getting warm. If you have any experiences, medical, good or bad, feel free to share them in the chat. If you're watching this in delay, share it in the comments. I do read them all. And while we're hanging here to see if anyone wants to share anything, I'm going to mention a few more things. We put a new video up this week for Live Confidently Autistic, the live stream. We put the trailer up, and I've been notified of a problem with that trailer. I did everything right, okay? And I put some music on it, some YouTube music that was approved by YouTube. That I'm not going to get a copyright violation or anything. And then I get a notice, excuse me, that the video is fine in America, but it's being blocked internationally because of the music rights are only good in the United States. So I got to fix that video. So that's going to be redone tomorrow, and it's going to be re-uploaded, either with different music or without any music at this point. It depends if I find any or not. Finding music, it's very difficult for me because I know what I want, but yet I don't know where to find it, you know? So that will be happening. We're getting excited about the new podcast. In fact, I don't have them right now because they were in laundry and they're not ready. But I have new t-shirts to promote the podcast, and they're not available yet for you to purchase. And that's okay. I have one for me and one for my wife. And this spurred from something that happened to us in a store. I've been a guest on a podcast, and this podcast sent me a shirt, my size, and one for my wife. And they're lovely shirts. They are. They really are. And we were in the store, and my wife was wearing hers. Now, I like my shirt, but it has a design, and you can't see it here, but it's on the back. It's not on this. It's not the shirt, but there's a design on the back, and it feels weird on my skin, one of those sensory issues. So I don't like wearing shirts that have something on the back that I can feel through the shirt. So I was not wearing mine, but my wife was wearing hers. And the loss protection person at Target walked up to us from, I'm not shoplifting, promise I paid for everything. But I walked up and said, I like that shirt. And started a conversation about the shirt and about autism and about how they have an adult family member, I believe it's an adult, who's on the spectrum. And my wife said to me, we ought to have t-shirts to promote your YouTube channel and the new podcast. I said, we should. I mean, this is working. So we got new shirts. We wore them yesterday, and we already have people complimenting on these shirts. So next week, I will share with you on this YouTube Live. I will share the shirts. I'll let you see what they look like, you know. And not only did I get the shirts, let me see if I can find them here. Okay. Yeah, I got this little box. And in this box are little, and then it's not going to show it well on the camera. I know that. Business cards that basically have the picture of the cover art for the podcast, a QR code that takes you to liveconfidentlyautistic.com, and 5 ways you can listen to the podcast. So when people talk to me about the shirt or my wife, and they want more information, and instead of hoping that they remember liveconfidentlyautistic.com, we can hand them one of these bad boys so they can go home They can scan it on the phone. They can go home, whatever, and we can grow the audience because that's what it's all about right now. Growing the audience on this channel and on our YouTube, on our podcast. That would be officially premiering the second week of September, and so I'm very excited about that. And and the next day or two, I'll be sharing some information on some social media, which I hate social media. Anyway, to solicit guests, I'll be looking for guests for this podcast. So be looking for that. It's gonna be a great event. So this is the last call. If you have anything you'd like to say about autism and medical community, feel free to. If you have any question about autism, adult autism, and or confidence, put them into the chat. I'll read them. I'll try to answer them, whatever. Uh, Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up for this week and be back next week. And I have some videos. I don't have to go anywhere. And my wife said, don't say this because then you're jinxing. And she may be right. I don't have to go anywhere the next Thursday. So I got 6 days that I can be in here doing production on videos and creating. So I'm hoping to knock out a lot of videos for you guys because I've been on the road a lot, taking care of a lot of medical stuff. Paperwork needs to be done, taking care of my mom with her health concerns. So I got 6 days. I'm going to be at home. I'm going to get some stuff knocked out. Now, if you're wondering how my CT results went, because I talked about that earlier, I have no idea. Okay, I go and see my cardiologist, or is it cardiac surgeon? But my heart doctor, I'm going to say that because I know that's the correct way of saying it. Later this month, I'm looking it up on my phone right now. That's not it. That may have to be rescheduled. On the 27th of this month, which is what, 3 weeks away? Yeah, 3 weeks away. So that's on Wednesday. I will probably share the results that Thursday night on the August 28th or on a video around that time. So keep an eye out for that. I don't know what next week's topic is going to be. You have an idea for a topic, put it into the chat. But yeah, we'll be back next Thursday night with that. We're going to have a adult autism one-on-one video coming up. It's going to be a great one. And all I can say is it's like a listicle. It's something my wife shared with me. She found a infographic on some stats, some uncommon traits that are not talked about a lot in autism. So I used that infographic and I did some research on it. I looked at the items and did some research and I've written the script. I'm going to shoot it tomorrow of 21 traits that are not talked. I'm trying to find the words. Traits that are not talked about that often that are common in autism. And that's going to be a video I will be premiering Monday, 3 p.m. Central Time here on this channel. So that's great. Don't forget to check out my website, theconfidentautistic.com, because each week, either on Tuesday or Wednesday, I usually post a review of a book. I've been doing that the last couple of weeks. And my wife sent me something the other day. And at first I asked her, are you sure this is legit? Because so many people can be creative with Canva and other things. But she sent me this cover that she found in a autism group, a time management special edition, Autism, new research, new knowledge, reality versus myth, understanding the journey and a mother's story. And it's available. It's a real magazine, by the way. If it wasn't real, could I be doing this? Ooh, that feels nice, fanning myself. And it's going to be available in stores to like October 2nd or something, early October. It's done there, and they're like $14.99, which is not too bad of a deal. Wait a minute, is it 14? Yeah, it's 14.99. Is that 14? Okay, well that looks like 7.99. Well, maybe 17.99. Anyway, it's less than $20. I got this off of eBay because I don't like going out to the store. And I'm going to read through this during the next week uh, and do a review of it. We may even talk about this magazine next week. So if you want to get a copy of this magazine, uh, I would imagine it's at like bookstores like Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, whatever, or anywhere that sells magazines that deeply, yeah, I mean, not your checkout. Well, maybe it's at your grocery store, but you look for these. You can find some on at eBay or others. It's not, I've not found it on Amazon. So, but I did find it on eBay, and you can get one of these and look through it, because I think next Thursday night we're going to talk about this magazine. Okay, I think that would be our topic. So I'd like to thank you for tuning in this week. I appreciate you taking time. If you're watching this live, thanks for watching live. And if you're watching in an archive, thank you for checking this out. And leave your comments. Excuse me, I'm thirsty. Uh-oh. Excuse me. The uh-oh was I knew I was going to make that burping sound. So I know it's not professional, but it has to be done. And but leave your comments. I do read each and every one of them. And once I read them, I give them a thumbs up. And if I really like them, I give a heart. Because that means I really enjoyed that comment. And every comment that you guys make, I really appreciate hearing. Any comments, suggestions you have, I want to hear them, because this channel is not about me. I know tonight sounds like it's about me, but the purpose of the channel is not to be self-serving, but for me to serve you, the autistic adult, because the journey is different. You're finding out later in life you're on the spectrum, and everything that you've been through. Now you have a whole new lens to look for. In some cases, your world has been turned upside down, and you're now having to navigate the world and face some of the issues and all, and it can be scary, and it can take a toll on your self-confidence. And as a certified life coach, multi-certified life coach specializing in confidence building, I wanted to merge the two. I wanted to merge late diagnosis of autism and self-confidence, because a lot of times as autistics, we are perceived as different, weird. We know that we're a little bit different. We're not like the Allistics. We try to, wear masks, and that damages our self-confidence, and we need an outlet where we can grow. And like I always say, we want to rise above the challenges, because not obstacles in our lives. Obstacles usually something big we can't get around. A challenge is something we can take on. And we want to rise above those challenges so we can live confidently autistic. And to live confidently autistic, that means you're proud of your autism. You have no problem sharing it. You wear shirts that promote autism. You wear hats, whatever, that says I'm autistic. You may have a car magnet that says I'm an autistic driver, please be patient. A t-shirt that says I'm autistic, please be patient with me. Whatever, and let people know you're autistic, and help blow or change the stereotype that people have about autism. So with that being said, that's kind of the purpose of the channel and what I want to do. It's all about you, not about me. I mean, I do share a lot about my life here, but the purpose is to help you celebrate who you are, accept who you are, celebrate, discover, develop, and grow your confidence as a person with autism. Because autism is not a curse. It's a blessing. We have gifts others do not have. We need to use those gifts to better ourselves and to make a difference, a positive difference in the world. And so that's what we're all about here at the channel. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you're staying cool wherever you are this summer. Hope you are getting ready for the transition out of summer into fall. We talked about that last week, and that's always hard for me. I always have trouble letting go of summer, but fall's coming, and whether we like it or not, we gotta face it, right? So thanks for hanging with me tonight. I will be back next Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central Time, with another live stream, and I will have a couple of videos up between now and then, new videos. So be watching for those for the channel if you have not already. Do me a favor. Maybe I should have mentioned this earlier, but I'm going to mention it now. If you're looking for content that'll help you understand autism and help you discover, develop, and grow the confidence you need to rise above challenges and to live confidently autistic, this is the channel for you. Whether you are suspect you're on the spectrum, self-identify as autistic, or are pursuing or have received a late diagnosis of autism as an adult, this is the place for you. YOU. So please hit that subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. I wonder if I can point my finger there. And that's gonna be the right. Is that gonna be the right? No, that's gonna be okay. Over here, over right about here. There's a little icon, a little graphic that says "Live the Confident Autistic." Click on that, and that will let you subscribe right now to the channel. And if any of this video resonated with you, let's get more people to know. You know how we can do that? We can share this video, and we can like that video, give it a thumbs up, make a comment. When you do those three things, that tells that big old algorithm in YouTube, this is a good video. More people would like to see it. And that grows the viewership and grows this audience. We're at 260 subscribers last time I checked earlier today. I want to see that get up to thousands of subscribers, and I need your help. So please like and subscribe to this channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. And remember, I'm always here to do whatever I can to help you. Yes, you, the guy that's watching this right now, the guy, the girl, whoever you are watching this video, help you rise above challenges and live confidently autistic. So until next time, this is the Confident Autistic, hoping that you have a wonderful week. You're staying cool this summer, and watch out for more videos on the channel. And I'll be live next Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central. I hope to see you then. Have a great evening.